I honestly did not know how I was going to do this review without spoiling anything, but I'm going to try. Welcome to Dead Walking Sunday, where we're talking The Walking Dead. Thank you. That's the episode title. This episode, hands down, is one of my favorite episodes of the Walking Dead series so far. It had everything. It had great makeup, great walkers, great intensity, great conflict, great scenarios, great interaction, great dialogue. Great music. It still had some of those tropes. I will say, still had some of those tropes, but everything just weaved so nicely. The flow, the atmosphere, the intensity, the consequences. This episode had everything you want in a walk. If you like me said, okay, Walking Dead's good, but it's not up to a level of a Breaking Bad or Sons of Anarchy, or you could say Game of Thrones. I've never seen Game of Thrones, but I've seen like one episode. Shame. Well, anyway. So you kind of, like me, you were conflicted with The Walking Dead. Sometimes it was good, sometimes it was bad. It never had a consistency. So far, this season has a great consistency of it. It's really coming out really nicely. There is no good, no bad. I thought the first episode was a little bit weak, but it still was pretty good. This episode, it just seems to be getting better and better and better. And this episode really just this makes you say, this is what The Walking Dead should be. This is how the level it should be at. Not only did it fix its dialogue problem, because we have a scene with Michonne and Heath that is beautifully done. Not only that, we also have Rick really showcasing his leadership and really telling the truth and how it's laid out. And then we have the community, Alexandria, and Rick's group really working together. So we have camaraderie, and we have this two different sides, but having to survive this horde of zombies and really have to coexist, even though they're not ready, even though this community is definitely not ready. And there is a lot of weaklings in this episode, I will just say. Oh my god, this episode is probably gonna really just it's gonna be a long lasting impression. Hopefully you guys have not been spoiled. Hopefully you just watch this throughout and then you go to my spoiler review. But I think I'm glad that I was not spoiled coming into this, because this really does have some twists and some turns, and it leaves you hanging. It leaves you wanting more and more. It just leaves you wanting more. This episode, everything worked very well. It's almost a perfected episode. However, well, there's no such thing as perfection, but it really is one of the best episodes in my opinion. The only thing that really got to me was the tropes, and the tropes I'm talking about, basically somebody falling, can't walk anymore, so they need help by somebody else, and pretty much that could lead to the other person dying just because they're helping a weakling, a weenie. They're helping a weenie, damn it. I thought what really stood out was the music in here. I thought the music fit so beautifully in some of the scenery, especially when there's one scene with Michonne in a building and you see walkers outside. There's this just barely a hint of the music, the soundtrack of The Walking Dead in there. And I don't think I've heard that piece of music before, so I thought that was beautifully in there. The editing, the flow, the atmosphere was definitely on point. I thought the editing was fantastic. I really can't pick anything that I would take out from the editing wise. And I thought it was just all really meshed together really, really well. I thought the atmosphere was perfect. So you had different kind of little bit of tones. You had you had pretty much the same kind of tone, honestly. You had the same tone, which made you feel intense, made you feel like you were at the edge of your seat. This episode really brings you at the edge of your seat. Now you get everything in here. You get action, you get dialogue, you get characters getting the spotlight. I think Michonne, Glenn, Heath are really spotlighted really well in this episode. Even Daryl gets a little spotlight on himself, and Rick really showcases why he's the leader, why he's the badass. There's a couple particular scenes with Rick that's like, damn, Rick, you the man. So honestly, this episode, hands down, to me, in my opinion, is one of the best Walking Dead episodes to air. And I thought it was beautifully done. I thought the twists were beautifully done. I thought the overall action was great. I thought the makeup on the zombies were fantastic. So I really did think they brought their A game for this episode. And honestly, this might be my favorite episode. I'm not sure. I would have to think about it. Honestly, I'm going to go back and probably rewatch all the seasons and review it because that's my game plan. But great episode tonight, guys. I really had to clap for this episode. They really did bring it all together, and it's very satisfying. So thank you guys for listening. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. Really would appreciate that. Thank you. And also comment below, and are you excited for this episode if you haven't seen it before? So no spoilers. Let's just, what did you overall think about the episode? If you have seen it, just don't spoil it. And also like the video if you like it. And until next time, until we talk more, The Walking Dead.